So that being said, let's get into some Asian murder. Let's get into some murder in Asia. So yeah, I wanted to cover this because one of the things I get over here in Asia a lot is I get folks who say all the time, yo, y'all are so bad over there in America. Why are people in America so horrible? You know, you guys are always killing each other. You know, you guys are the worst. And I get that. I get that a lot. And you know, it's time to respond with a little bit of that Chinese recipe, like you said, Toothless. A little bit of that Chinese spice. Because I think a lot of times people think America is bad and they ignore China. They ignore a lot of things that are going on, particularly in China. Also in other parts of the world, by the way, ignoring the entire African continent. And they think America is this horrible, horrible spot. Then they forget about the Uyghurs. Then they forget about, you know, lost generations. They forget about the Cultural Revolution. They forget about Abby Choi. You know, we're so focused on the Idaho 4, we forget a story about Abby Choi. And one of the reasons I would love to get deeper into this story and potentially cover it is I'm over in Asia. If I, by any random chance, if I had the opportunity to go to this trial and watch it in Hong Kong, I 100% would do that. I 100% would do that, like without a doubt. Now, I'm not going to get some jab, some, you know, Chinese anal swab to get there. But if I could do it without all those restrictions, with nothing impinging upon my life, sure, I'd do it. I'd absolutely 100% do it. And I think it would be a much more interesting case than what we have in even Idaho. So anyways, let's talk about Abby Choi. So here's Abby Choi. Who the fuck is Abby Choi? Why do we care? So here's Abby. Here's her Insta. As always, we judge them by their Insta, right? So you've got here Abby Choi. Now this is her right here. As you can see, she was an attractive young lady. She was an influencer. I will say, as a guy who's in Asia and my fellow brothers out there, my fellow Asian brothers out there, y'all know plastic surgery. Y'all know what's up. You can see now, this is a very good photo. Like, this is definitely a smash. Very pretty, right? But looking at other photos, you can definitely see this shit is not natural. This is a lot of plastic surgery. In fact, I guarantee you she flew over here to South Korea for some of this because South Korea is premium on the plastic surgery, particularly for Asian type surgery. So, you know, eyes, nose, chin, resculpting, definitely lips done. I guarantee you none of this is real. But that being said, yes, absolutely. This is a beautiful girl, would absolutely smash. She was an influencer, you know, obviously repping brands hard. We can see in some of her other work, you know, she's in fashion magazines, you know, repping all sorts of different brands. You know, obviously posing in posh places, you know, typical Instagram girl life, you know. But that being said, well known, people knew her, and she was through her modeling, through putting herself out there, she was a millionaire. So through like just pretty much going out here and, you know, repping for Gucci, doing all this other stuff, she was a millionaire. She was a self-made millionaire through all of this. So like it or hate it, she made money on it. And that's one thing that perhaps these Asian girls have on the American girls is they know how to deal with the money, right? They monetize a little bit better. So her monetization strategy was much more successful. She is not Korean. She was from Hong Kong. But yeah, very attractive young girl, did a lot of work, well-known influencer. So what happened to her? Well, here's what happened. Hong Kong police, and this is just a couple days ago, arrested 4 people over the death and dismemberment of Abby. It's believed that the 28-year-old victim, she was 28 years old, looked very good. Once again, you know, this is Asia, right? Looks very good at 28, involving large sums with her ex-husband's family. Oh, and I read Best Logic. My name is Brandon. Says Law Nerd Clips about to break out his Captain Ahab hat and bust out his harpoon. Hey, all good on Law Nerd Clips. They can go and do what they want to do. I don't direct them, but I support all channels in doing whatever the fuck they want to do. Let me put it that way. But anyways, okay. So death and dismemberment. Now we're going to go through the timeline because there's been some updates, right? But I'm going to take you through this as the story developed. So Choi's remains were discovered in a village house, which was equipped with an electric saw and a meat grinder that had been used to mince human flesh. And by the way, I do this for the purposes of legal commentary and not to glorify this. Obviously, this is a horrible, horrible incident and a horrible tragedy. Yeah. And then police revealed that a woman's limbs have been discovered inside a refrigerator. We're still looking for the head, Superintendent Alan Chung said, adding that 2 pots of stew believed to contain human tissue were left at the scene. Elite divers have been deployed to carry out an underwater search for missing body parts at a water catchment area. So there was flesh in the stew, and she was minced through a meat grinder. Police arrested Choi's ex-husband, 28, a man surnamed Kwong, at a pier. He was believed to be trying to flee the city by boat. We'll talk about that. The sources say that the father-in-law, who was the mastermind of the killing, had been unhappy with their handling of luxury property, right? And let me show you some pictures. So here you have some evidence bags. We're going to get to what's in these. There's her handbag at time of death, some of her clothes, a kitchen knife that was used to chop, some raincoats. We're going to get into that, and a hammer. Yeah. Police searching through the trash and then also dragging evidence out from the crime scene. This is crazy. I mean, like I said, you compare this to Idaho, where the guy was in and out, just popped in, popped out, did the killing, got in and out. Much, much, much different. Okay. So let's oh no. Let's get this one. I like women how I like my coffee ground up and in the freezer. Got rabbit. Too much. The line is too far. All right, so let's get into the story here. Oh, hold on. I gotta incognito mode this because they want to try to pay gate me. How dare you? How dare you try to pay gate me? South China Morning Post. You think you're gonna outsmart the mindset? Come on. Not today. Not today, South China Morning Post. All right. Let's get into the details of the murder. So all right. So they found her skull there, along with a bunch of blood and other dismembered body parts. Let's see, here you go. And they just now found her severed head in a soup pot. So one of those pots that they'd found that had tissue on it, turns out, according to the Straits Times, thank you, Singapore, that her head was actually in the pot. It was in one of 2 big pots containing soup or human remains days after her grisly murder was discovered. Meanwhile, another suspect, the lover of Miss Choi's former father-in-law, has been arrested. So the mother, here's what I want to bring out here. The most evil person involved in this was actually the matriarch, was actually the woman. Yes, that's right. It wasn't the dad that concocted this. It was the woman. This is something that was concocted by an older woman, perhaps a mature Chinese shabusiness. In fact, this makes shabusiness look a little tame by comparison. They confirmed that the head and ribs inside of one of the 2 large pots they received on Friday from inside the house in Hong Kong's rural Tai Po district, where she was said to have been butchered. The head and ribs were believed to belong to Miss Choi, but DNA tests are still needed. The 2 pots were filled to the brim with soup and minced meat, believed to be remains. They garnished it with carrots and green radish. Carrots and green radish. How long do you think it would take to handle Lizzo? Not possible. Not possible. Do not process. Now, folks, don't eat the Wonder Meat. No, definitely not. I mean, once again, this is intense. Pots were taken to the mortuary on Saturday. Forensic experts were examining them. They're still examining them. It's still non-conclusive. And they're still searching for other parts. So they found 2 legs, the head, the neck, right, the ribs, but they haven't found other body parts. They're missing like hands. Portions of the 28-year-old body, her legs were recovered in the refrigerator. They also found a meat slicer, electric saw, hammer, face shields, and black raincoats. It was said, and I read this elsewhere, that they put up a sail, like a sail from a boat on the wall so that blood didn't splash everywhere, like a boat sail. I mean, that's like from The Purge. If you remember from The Purge when they would like all get in their little white suits and stuff, except for they used black because, less blood shows on black. But they were ready for this. They were equipped. So Alex, the former husband, her former husband, this guy was actually married to her at some point, Alex Kwong. He was arrested. He actually was caught on the pier on the island right outside of Hong Kong with $4.5 million. So $774,000. This is in Singapore dollars. It's pretty much the same in America. So more than over like $750 million in US dollars that they're holding in cash and watches. So this guy was getting the fuck out of there. So this is not looking good. He was trying to get into a speedboat, by the way. His father and elder brother were charged with murder. No, she was managing certain property that they had an interest in, or they wanted to have an interest in. They were set to appear in local court on Monday, so I'm going to check in on that case. They've been arrested another suspect, a 47-year-old woman surnamed Ning. She was a lover of Miss Choi's father and accused of renting him the ground floor flat of the village house. So once again, these women that are involved pushing this, not innocent here. And Ning was a masseuse who had been in a relationship with Kwong's father about 6 months. That masseuse. So they got divers looking for it, people in the cemetery. Crazy, crazy shit.